go. Hello and welcome. So this is the first mission then. So this is the third test, but we've got extras in. His internet's come back. It's seeming like it's going to be okay. If anyone's got any feedback, if there's any issues your end, if there's any kind of time delays or anything you want to tell us, that'd be absolutely amazing. Extras, tell us what you've been up to.
Well, we have a new proposal coming out hopefully this week, just to renew the video work. And as always, we're always looking for new contractors, new contributors to help build Decred. We have a DAO, we have the treasury, we have funds, but we do have a proposal, and looking forward to making some good videos for you guys. And definitely the new DEX tutorial video. I think it's going to be extremely important. To help onboard new people. It's critical infrastructure for the project, and also looking forward to doing this live stream and maybe make this a normal thing we can do moving forward, just to talk about Decred, just to keep the community entertained.
Yeah, I hope so. Like I say, when you were talking to me in the last proposal about doing some combined stuff, I think more needs to be done. There's so many gaps in my own education, and just kind of battering ideas off of people rather than me just sitting here as a talking head makes a lot of sense, really. So yeah, really looking forward to that. And like I say, if we can get this going once a month, that'd be absolutely brilliant. And I'm really looking forward to getting started again, or getting going again with the Decred proposal. So what I was saying previously, just because we've done a little live stream today already, is that we're just going to look at things happening in the marketplace and how Decred kind of combines with that. So whether that be traditional markets, whether that be society and all the craziness that's happening with inflation and whatnot, or whether it just be in the crypto markets, just we're going to pick up a couple of news articles, news pieces, and just kind of chat it out and see what's going on. Without further ado, should we have a look at the most important piece of news this week, which is Decred becoming 6 years old. It's actually
6 years young.
Yeah.
I think Decred's just getting started, honestly. Like every single year, new releases, upgrades. Decred just gets better. Look at other projects. Do other projects get better? Not really. They have a few bug fixes. They find some critical error. There's a lot of projects still in the white paper phase, and Decred just gets better every year. It's truly amazing to follow the project.
I'm on Twitter probably as much as you are, and I always see people saying, "Oh, this is just taking too long. Decred's not going anywhere, whatever." But when you think about what they're actually doing, they're building this stuff from scratch, and no one's ever done this before. So to be where we are with just 6 years under our belt is just incredible, really. And it goes without saying that it's one of my favorite projects, and and we were talking previously about some of the stuff it's been doing, and on the screen now I've just got a tweet from Checkmate. It actually goes back over a year ago, but it's still as valid today as it was then. And it just says Decred specializes in human innovation, participation, and robust adaptation and enforcing of a social contract. Every single DCR holder is an essential part of the resilience and security of a DAO organization. And it's something, I try not to repeat myself too much, but it was something that I was saying before, is when I got into Decred about 3 years ago, I was all about the sound money prospect. And I was feeling like I was so lucky, because Decred, even at 3 years old or whatever it was, and it was like £7 to £30 at the time. And I was managing to buy some. I never bought, I was never able to buy thousands and thousands, but enough that I could actually get my tickets and whatnot.
Yeah, I first got into, sorry.
No.
I first got into Decred in 2017, and all I knew about it was that like stakeholders ran the protocol, and that really resonated me. Just to know, if I buy into this coin, I have a vote that matters. And I didn't know anything else about the project. I didn't know about the aspects of the treasury or the DAO, or that they were going to add privacy or the proposals. I just thought like, hey, it's Bitcoin with voting. This is amazing, and you get stake rewards. And back in 2017, the stake rewards were quite nice. And with this upcoming consensus change, they're going to be nice again, because we're going from a block reward of 30% to, what is it, 80%? So
yeah.
it's going to make staking quite competitive again. So that's going to be exciting. But yeah, the protocol has just come so far since I've been in it in 2017. And I can only imagine how it is for people who've been in Decred since 2015 when it was first announced, 2016 when it
Yeah.
went live. I mean, a lot has happened. So, again, just so many optimizations, so many under the hood improvements that is difficult to talk about that has gone on
Yeah.
at every single release.
There's just so much that happened. But I mean, just to finish up, I came in for the sound money, but then you start realizing, in actual fact, this thing is an organization. This thing is actually a coordinated effort from everyone that's involved. And when you start thinking about that and what the DAO can actually do in moving the project forward in the way that the holders want, it's actually quite, I mean, it's a massively powerful thing, actually. And Checkmate goes on to say about his Swiss Army knife. So on the second page, I've actually pulled up his picture here, which at the time I thought was absolutely brilliant. And it does say what you were saying earlier about the amount of stuff that Decred can actually do compared to other projects. If other projects in the real world and in the crypto space could do maybe 2 or 3 of these things, they'd be raving about it, and I'm sure we'd hear it all over the news.
Right.
And
especially from the Bitcoin community, it's just the smallest things, they go crazy, and it's like Bitcoin really hasn't changed in years at all. And I mean, that's part of the protocol. You can't really make this. There's no governance, so they can't really change things. Some people like that it's this hard protocol, but personally, I like what Decred does. It adapts, it gets better. To me, that just makes sense.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just to harp on about that, but I remember, I think it was last year when Monero got their atomic swap, and it was like there was no mention of Decred, and we'd done it like 2 years previous or whatever, But the amount of,
I believe the Decred devs wrote the original atomic swap tools. And I believe that was done in 2017. Then they did the first atomic swap between Decred and Litecoin. And then it got a bit more news when Litecoin did it with Bitcoin. I was like, oh my God, atomic swaps, this is amazing. And then no one talked about it. It kind of like just disappeared. But of course, Decred was like, hey, this technology is great. We're going to build a DEX, no KYC, self-custody. And they did it, built the DEX, and now it's fully integrated into the graphical wallet, and it's extremely easy to get on now because we have the Bitcoin SPV, simple payments verification. It's truly amazing to use now. But yeah, it's a total game changer. I don't think people realize how great the DEX is. It is easier to sign up, there's no sign up, but it's easier to get on the DEX than it is to sign up to some of these exchanges because there's no KYC, there's no waiting, there's no limits. It's super advanced. It's great.
And you can do it your own way. You're not waiting for them to pump the price around you as you make your trade. You try and hit a certain price point, and all of a sudden, it got away from me again. Now I've got to wait another 3 days before I get anywhere close. But with the DEX, of course,
did you post this video on Matrix or Twitter? I'm not sure if people are commenting live right now or anything.
Oh no, I don't know if you want to do that. Have you got Matrix open? Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to sit tight.
Can you send me the link on Telegram?
Oh God, now you're asking.
Yeah, I was just thinking maybe we should, promote.
Yeah, this. While we're here, let's just do it.
So much juicy information, we should promote it.
Yeah, this is hold on, give me 2 secs. I'll do another tweet for it. And
you did a tweet?
I did a little tweet. My tweets never get to anyone though.
Yeah, because your Decred handle.
Yes,
there's a conspiracy that Decred stuff gets shadow banned, but I don't know.
Yeah, we are live. I'm on the page, so let me just share this with you. So copy link. Link is copied. So let's head on back over to Telegram. Here we go. Yeah, let's see if we can get some more people.
Speaking of suppressing, we should probably talk about maybe go into the detail about the suppressor a little bit. Maybe if you believe in it, or
Well, I am of 2 minds. I've got to be honest. I've just sent you that link, by the way. I am of 2 minds. The first mind is why we've got this opportunity of buying. It's nice to try and get as many people into this as possible, even if they don't 100% believe in it, just purely because once this thing goes off, and like you said before about the 80% in stakeholders, it's going to change everything. And my initial kind of rationale was that when the actual coin supply reduces in 2026, 2027, that's when I was expecting this hike up to happen, when we'd probably sustain 100 or 200 quite reasonably. But now, of course, it's like, well, the coin supply is going to get zapped by stakeholders, so there's going to be no availability. So probably from next year all the way to 26 is probably going to be that rise that I was expecting in 26. So it would just be nice to see if we could get more people involved before that happens. That's kind of that's my thing with it at the minute. So
I certainly think what's going to happen is miners, when the rewards get zapped, they can't just turn off these machines because they've invested so much money in these machines, and you can't do anything else with these machines. And I seriously doubt they're going to be able to sell them on the market, especially once people know about this block reward reduction. So I think people are just going to have to hold the coins they mine and wait for the price to increase, which is the
yeah,
way I think it should be, where they shouldn't just dump immediately no matter what because the profits are so high. But in regards to the suppressor, I do think there is an entity, as it was shown in the research, 85% of the hash power is in China, and it's likely owned by one entity or some entities working together, maybe Bitmain or something. And odds are, because they have so many coins, they are able to manipulate things. I don't know exactly how, but I do think it is a valid theory. Like, absolutely.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I think Jake made the point of every time some positive news come out, the price dumped. Whereas you've only got to look. The other week, Zcash promoted the fact that in 3 years' time, they're going to be a proof of stake coin. And the price went up to almost from about £60 all the way up to about £200, and it's like, it's pretty much come back down now. But whenever we get that positive news in Decred, it kind of like goes the other way. So yeah, I can understand that.
Right. Even with our latest release, 1.7, again, huge release, super,
Yeah,
super important. Just the DEX alone, but also the quantum ready mixing is combined with the fact that 60% of Decred, or I think it's almost at 60%, is now mixed
yeah,
of the circulating supply. Huge statistic, huge milestone. And again, there was no pump. Of course, the community in general has to work to spread the word of Decred. Personally, I tell as many people as I can about Decred,
yeah,
and they're always interested. Like, it's never like, oh, that sounds like it sucks. It's always like, wow, that's doing a lot of things. How have I never
yeah,
heard of this? And I'm like, well, it's in the top 100, but it's not in the top 20, so that's why. But people oftentimes are very interested. Like, wow, that's cool. Especially now that you can tell them about the DEX. It's like, yeah, you can buy it with. You can do an atomic swap to buy, which I think is probably the coolest way to first get into Decred.
yeah,
I bought my Decred using an atomic swap on a decentralized exchange that I mix my coins. Uh, but yeah, but again, yeah,
yeah,
1.7, no price increase. And I'm not saying there has to be a price increase, but you think that's what would happen, right? Four
yeah,
new consensus votes at one time. But we'll just wait and see. And I think Decred is just going to continue to grow. Our community is going to continue to grow, and maybe there's going to be some killer feature, or maybe some group like ARK Invest is going to say, hey, we're going to start buying Decred, and that's going to be the catalyst that launches Decred kind of into the limelight. But who knows? I'm going to be with Decred no matter what. I think it's an
yeah.
amazing project. I'm seriously impressed every month of all the stuff that happens. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the the value that we get from like your news ones as well. I mean, I know I channel in every single time you put one out, and it never surprised me actually how much is going on. And I think
Right. And
maybe this was
I edit those so they're like, it's very information packed. There's no like fluff. It's just like it's like,
yeah,
so you watch it, it's like, wow, there's 10 minutes and there's so much. But also you look at the Decred Journal, which was unfortunately it's
yeah.
been discontinued unless someone in the community
Oh,
wants to. Yep. So the Decred Journal, the last issue, I think B was the main editor, and
right.
he said he wanted to step down to focus on other things. I believe it's quite a bit of work to. It's more work than you would think to gather all of this information and put it into readable content. So the Decred Journal has been discontinued for now, but I believe it shouldn't be too difficult to start back up. We just need someone to step up. I was thinking of maybe doing it, but I want to see like how much work is involved, because I know it's one of those things where like it looks easy when it's all done, but I'm sure it was taking B quite a bit of effort. And it's also difficult
Yeah.
to go into the GitHub repos and analyze all the things the developers are doing. It's because oftentimes it's difficult to translate this into normal person speak, right?
It was, to be fair, the journal is such a good read. That's come as a massive shock to me.
Yeah,
Actually, I didn't
loved it.
realize.
I mean,
Yeah,
if you're someone who doesn't want to follow, I mean, there's people out there who don't want to follow the project closely. Maybe they're in a large number of cryptocurrencies. The journal is just perfect summary of everything. But I think it'll come back. I mean, the
yeah.
community definitely liked it.
Well, one of the guys from last week's live stream that I was testing out said, we should take some of the content from the journal and actually do that. So I thought, yeah, that's a great idea actually, and see if we can videoize it or whatever. But it's a shocker. That's absolute shocker. So should we go on?
I just want to say, speaking of marketing, I've seen so many comments about, oh, we need more marketing, more this, but we haven't seen many like concrete ideas, because you can't just say, oh, do marketing. You ever see the meme with the guys poking something with a stick? It's almost like people are poking Decred with a stick and saying, do marketing things. And it's like, but what do you mean? It's like you only want to do things that are effective and have value. Otherwise, you're just wasting money. We don't want to spend money and waste the treasury money for no reason. Like, I'm totally open to good marketing ideas. It's just marketing in cryptocurrency is really difficult. And as a lot of people have said, it really comes down to the number going up. Number goes up, people say, oh, that project's good. Number goes down, oh, that's not a good project, regardless of anything else. It's truly amazing. But yeah, I would like to see more marketing, but more specifically, like good ideas that can be executed, like no shower thoughts. I think that's something I know the community is really opposed to. It's just like these kind of shower thoughts. It's like, okay.
Yeah, I mean, one of the biggest problems I have with whenever I see, Decred's not marketing enough, it's like, well, we're all in this together. So, if you know what you're doing with marketing, have a go and then put a proposal up. But and that's what I'd like to see more of, is people actually doing the work, having a go, sharing it with the community, and then actually becoming a contractor for it, because that's really the way in which we are going to move forward. Having these wonderful ideas about, we need to market this and this, is all very well, but you still need somebody to do it, and with all the best will in the world, I love creating these videos, but I'm not the greatest marketer, unfortunately. But it would be great, even if someone came along and said, look, I'm going to consolidate all of this stuff into a big old marketing campaign. That would be absolutely amazing.
I believe one of your videos was the second most popular over this past proposal. One of your Decred fundamentals was the second most viewed on the entire channel. The first was the staking tutorial I did, but your video it had a very high retention rate, meaning people watched the entire thing.
Oh, seriously?
I believe it was called Sound Money. It was like the principle of sound money. And it was likely because people just typed in sound money into YouTube and your video came up. So, but yeah, some of your videos did really well. I mean, it wasn't, but obviously some of this stuff is so complex. It's difficult for people to grasp it and follow along. I think that's why so many people are into Bitcoin. They just look at the price. They love the Bitcoin price videos. I'm gonna do technical analysis and pretend I know what I'm talking about. And that's gonna be the entire video about Bitcoin. Whereas our Decred videos are like I never talk about price unless it's to do with the treasury. Like, okay, the price is up, the treasury is worth more. This is awesome.
Yeah,
and know what I mean.
That's where the true value is going to come from. The higher the price of the treasury, that's so you can actually once people turn up and they want to do the marketing, they want to do all these other jobs that desperately need doing, being able to say, look, we can pay for this stuff, and it's all coming from DCR. And the conviction rate, and I forget who it was now, it might have actually been you, that basically we don't hold any other assets. It's DCR. That's how high the conviction rate is in the project, is that the DAO is just about DCR.
Right. And a lot of people want to hold in like stable coins or something. Yeah. It's like, nope, just going to be Decred.
Yeah, you don't need stablecoin. If you understand what Decred's going to be or what it is, that's the one you want to hold, really. So, yeah. Good stuff. Yeah, so on the screen, I've just put up all of the achievements over the last 6 years that Decred's been up against. I've just dragged this from the Decred history channel, and the one I've just put at the end is the DCR Dex, which is probably the one that I am most optimistic about. And I mean, I said to you in one of our chats that as soon as there's Litecoin pairs, I'm going to be all over this because I like this
Right.
idea of having no fees, and then also when you're moving in and out of Decred, the actual mining transaction is low as well. And I also see
Right.
that could be the on and off ramp that we're so desperate for,
Right.
which
I
could be
agree that obviously the Bitcoin fees are quite high, and I don't know how it's going to work with Ethereum because Ethereum is coming to the DEX
yeah
probably sooner than we think. I believe they said they wanted to carry out a contract audit, a professional audit, which is smart. But I don't know what the
yeah
fees are going to look like, and I think that's something a lot of people are concerned with. And it's going to be interesting to see if a Litecoin market will develop. I know it's supported, but there's no market for it. Maybe we would need the market the DEX to the Litecoin community and we can bring in more Litecoin. But I agree that having like no fees and doing those quick swaps on the DEX will be great. And I'm sure more coins are going to come along and it's going to grow and grow. But unfortunately, right now it's
yeah
just Bitcoin, and which is fine. The market's quite good for Bitcoin.
yeah.
But yeah, Litecoin would be cool.
Yeah, I mean, I think in terms of on and off ramps, especially if you've got to pay bills, and what you really want to do, if you're a contractor and you have to spend some of your decred during the month, you want to get it to Coinbase or Binance with the lowest amount of fees as possible. Obviously, the optimal there would be to have a stablecoin pair, but I don't know. Here's a question for you. Do you
Sure.
know of any stable coins that are worth having that haven't got these ridiculous Ethereum fees?
Um, that's a good question. I'm actually not aware of any. I'm sure there are some that exist, but obviously USDC is backed by Coinbase. It's the real deal. Speaking of stable coins, if you buy USDC on Coinbase, there's actually no fees when you buy it, and there's no fees when you send it somewhere. So obviously you can't use fiat on the DEX, but what you
No.
could do is, yeah, you could go through Coinbase, you could buy USDC. Again, there's no like exchange rates. Like you buy $20 of USDC, you get 20 USDC, and then you can send it to the DEX, Decred DEX, with no fees, and then you can trade it. Obviously, you're going to incur fees, trading fees on that, but it's going to be a nice way of kind of going from fiat. Okay, yeah, there's a few steps, but going from fiat and buying Decred using that method. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's USDC. I thought it is an Ethereum one. So when you trade
Yes,
between
it
US
is.
dollar and USDC, is it because you're staying on their platform? Is that what you're saying?
Well, it's the same as Tether. You're buying into a stable coin,
Yeah,
right?
no, but I mean yeah, because Tether. I looked the other. Was it Tether? No, I tell you what, it was Dai. I was
Well,
buying some Dai, and
I know USDC. Every USDC created, they are actually like Coinbase is so heavily audited. There's no funny business with it.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I don't know. I
No,
haven't
it's just
researched stable coins like crazy. I just know like if you buy USDC, which is the Coinbase stable coin, like there's no fees, which is quite nice.
that's really good. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's really good. I'd have
and
to
when sending
look
it
more into that.
places.
Yeah, that's yeah, because ultimately that's what you want, isn't it? If you are going to pay your bills, more often than not, you just want to stick with Decred and stake and all the rest of it. But sometimes we have to pay our bills, and that would be the point is trying to get from each of these with the lowest amount of fees. Yeah,
Well, yeah, I'm talking about like onboarding new users. Like, say someone has fiat and they want to buy Decred and they want to use the DEX. Okay, the DEX doesn't support fiat, but you can go buy USDC, and then you incur the least fees possible and
yeah,
send that USDC to the DEX, and then you can execute your atomic swap, and now you have your Decred.
yeah.
So
That's the way. That would be cool, actually. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. That's yeah. The USDC is the next one. Um,
yeah, I'm going to
so
be curious to see what the lot size for that is. You know how right now with the DEX you have it's lot size of 40 Decred.
is that coming down
I
for
believe when the exchange rate was really high, like they were talking about making it 10 decred or less, but it is a
yeah,
variable they can change. And the reason it's at 40 and is so high is they want to keep the fee low. because if you do, let's say you trade like one Decred or whatever, and you incur, I'm not exactly sure how high the fees are, but let's just say it's $20. You trade one Decred and you incur a fee of $20. That's a huge percentage of the transaction. Whereas if you're trading 40 Decred, it might be. I know they want to keep it under 1%,
Yeah.
so it
No,
makes sense.
I remember when the proposal was coming out, and that was one of the kind of things that they had to try and work out a solid value for it. And I think it was a sensible move, and pretty much everything to date has been kind of a sensible moves and to move forward in a slow, orderly fashion, if you like. But yeah. So should we do the last one? This is the one that you sent me through this morning. I've called this the raw deal. I don't know if did you manage to watch the Ron Paul video that went with your tweet?
No, message. It's just such a tweet that's relevant to anyone in cryptocurrency. I mean, it's all news to anyone, really. We all know this, but it's so funny for him to just be like, do you have the image pulled up on your screen?
Yeah, I've got
okay,
the.
Yeah.
If I go to them,
the Fed is counterfeiting dollars, just printing dollars out of nothingness.
Yeah, the video is actually really good, and he went right into it, and he was saying, look, they're trying to raise the interest, and normally what happens when they raise the interest is that the money printing slows down, so the money supply actually slows down. And he was saying, well, they're not only trying to raise the interest rates, but they're also trying to print more money. And he actually showed, and I'll whiz over to this chart here, which is the M2. And it shows, and this is the one I used in the video, it shows since 2020, they've actually printed, was it 6 trillion? So in 2 years, they've basically done as much as what it took from 2008 up to 2020, which, going in line with what they're trying to do with increasing the interest rate as well. It was actually a really interesting article. And I think, if I'm honest, it perplexes me massively. But just to see this chart where you've got these gaps where every kind of 10 years or 12 years, the money supply doubles, and you think, this is why we need a Decred hedge or a Bitcoin hedge if you're more into that.
It's crazy, and what's good now is I feel like 10 years ago no one really talked about inflation. No one really knew what it was. People weren't really super interested in money. And I feel like now, like, everyone knows about inflation. Like, it's now a household word, and everyone's talking about it. Everyone's kind of looking into how money works now, which I think is a nice catalyst in cryptocurrency. Where before it was like, why do we need this crypto coin thing? I don't get it. Now it's like, we absolutely need it. Obviously, in North America, Europe, inflation maybe not as critical as in the past, maybe not as critical, but in South America, in African countries, it's always been an issue, and they know all about it.
Yeah. Well, I know the Nigerian nation, they were quite quick to get onto Bitcoin. I think they're quite big holders as well. But yeah, I've got a friend actually where I work who's the economics teacher, and we're always into this, and it just never ceases to surprise. And I think the point that you made about 10 years ago, none of us were talking about this, and none of us really knew. We were just plodding on with our lives, and all of a sudden we're like,
a lot has changed in the last 3 years. People who were conspiracy theorists 4 years ago are now the biggest. But but yeah, definitely the money is something everyone's kind of looking at and being like, oh, okay, maybe there's a better way of doing this.
Yeah.
And then with the cryptocurrency, Decred's the better way of doing cryptocurrency, I think.
Well, I think so. For me, it's, yes, you're gonna want to hold some cash, but you've also got to hedge against what's currently happening. And I don't see. I haven't heard of any projects outside of Decred that are kind of pushing this field any more forward. And I don't see the fiat systems and the governments of the world changing their habits anytime soon. And on this slide that I've got up at the moment, the prediction or the optimistic prediction is that by the time we get to 2032, the coin supply of, this is just for US, I'm sure it's the same with England, will actually have doubled. So yours be going from 16 trillion all the way up to 32 trillion, which I can't even comprehend that as a figure, to be fair. and we're still as middle class or lower class people, we're still talking about hundreds of pounds and thousands of pounds, when really we're probably at this stage we should be thinking more, into the hundreds of thousands of pounds and things, based on kind of the way it's getting away from us. And it just surprises me since in the 80s, and I remember the 80s. I was, I was a young lad, but I remember them fairly well. And the US dollar then, your whole coin supply was at 2 trillion, and for 30 years later or whatever, to quadruple that and just it loses its meaning for me a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But
One other thing I think is going to be more important in the future. 10 years ago, no one really talked about, I guess, privacy wasn't super important. But nowadays, I am seeing so many people signing up to like Signal. And I guess, I don't know how private Telegram necessarily is, but I know it's probably a little better than like WhatsApp or Facebook
yeah,
Messenger. But there's been a huge move towards these more private centric platforms. And at the same time, it's like, why aren't people moving to private cryptocurrencies? Bitcoin, traceable. I think all the coins in the top 10 are like traceable, no privacy. I think there's going to be a huge shift towards privacy coins once the market starts to figure out, okay, Bitcoin's not private at all. Ethereum's not private. I want to transact in a private cryptocurrency. And obviously, Decred has the mixing in the wallet. It's opt-in, it's audible, it's very nice. But obviously, cryptocurrency can't be money if it's not fungible. And the only way to be fungible is to have privacy. So,
yeah. No, I mean, it's once again, it's a bit of a contentious issue. And I remember when I first got into crypto, and I remember that Zcash was on Coinbase at the time, and then within about 6 months, I don't think it'd been on there very long, they had this massive clampdown on privacy. And it just gets you. It got thinking. At the end of the day, if it goes to the digital bank, central bank digital currency or whatever it is, and they can basically your money's not private. You lose this kind of, I don't know. It's a weird one, isn't it? Because I suppose the question really should be is, what are you losing by not being private? And the banks will say, yeah, but we can trace your spending habits and we can give you the best deals and the things that you need. It's like, yeah, but sometimes you just convenience is what's drawing us all in the direction of not being private, and it's convenience that's allowing all these big tech companies to have all of our information, isn't it? And that's I think that's probably the only reason, and that's the battle that most people are up against. By reducing your privacy, you have a more convenient experience. And if you want this, I mean, Jake was talking about this a few years ago about the OS that he uses being basically more secure or more private, but it was a hell of a battle to set it up and things like that. So, yeah. The only problem,
privacy can be easy too. Like, again, Decred privacy.
Decred is, yeah, Decred's so easy.
You have a button, you click the button, start Mixer, and it does its job, mixes your coins, and it works. Now post quantum secure, so even quantum computers can't undo your mixes.
Yeah.
Again, just press the button.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose what I was saying is it's mainly that's what's always getting in the way, isn't it?
Like super private. Yes, it is difficult. You have to use like obscure operating systems. You can't use Windows. You have to use like a de-Googled phone. It can be really difficult. Even then, it's like, it's super difficult to be completely private. But as far as money goes, I mean, there has to be like base layers of privacy, right?
It's the ones that solve the cash problem, isn't it? Cash is the most private form of money, so that's ultimately what we need.
Last time you did the stream, did you talk about? I believe there was someone that was trying to use some sort of lending service, and it turned out they had used mixed Bitcoin, and they got like pushed off the service, or something happened where they lost a lot of money. But it was because they were like, "Oh, your coin's been mixed, therefore it's a dirty Bitcoin. Bitcoin's not fungible." So it's not equal to other Bitcoin. The Bitcoin you have is not equal to the other Bitcoin. So we're going to kick you off the service and he had some sort of loan, and he lost a bunch of money. I don't know. It was on Reddit.
Here you go.
Maybe did
I've
you
just brought
talk
it
about
up.
that last?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just brought it up actually. So it was something to do with BlockFi. Horrible loan experience. This guy had taken out a $300,000 loan and put up 600,000 worth of BTC, which I worked out was about 15 BTC in collateral. And then later down, they retracted the loan, made him pay all the fees, purely because they had used what was it, BISC. It was the BISC, or the person that owned the coins before him had used the BISC mixing service, which basically meant that he couldn't use those coins on their platform. And
Right.
and ultimately, we're talking about that fungibility factor. Is your cash, your money should be able to be used everywhere. And if you can't do just the simplest things like spend it or trade it out at Coinbase because it's been mixed, that's a horrid experience.
Of course, a Bitcoin maximalist will tell you, "Oh, those services are bad and they're super centralized and this and that." But it's like this is like all the U.S. regulatory exchanges, like it's like
Yeah. See, I'm not. I mean, maybe this is my ignorance here, but I'm not sure. You could hold them in your own wallet, but if you wanted to use one of these, I mean, this guy was clearly gambling, so it didn't really affect me at all. But if you want to use the services and you want to use the coins in the way that they were designed, and that's pretty much to be used anywhere, it becomes a massive factor, doesn't it? It becomes, yeah, it goes against what it stands for, I suppose.
of
Whereas
course in his
with
post
decredits,
he's blaming BlockFi, like, "Oh, BlockFi is terrible." It's like the greater issue here is Bitcoin is not fungible, and
yeah,
you use the mixing service, and since a small number of Bitcoins mix, it's automatically dirty, and the exchanges don't want it. You know,
yeah. Whereas with Decred, we've got 60% of the supply. So for us, they either accept us as a whole or they accept us not at all, which is
and
probably the best way to go.
that number is going to keep going. I believe we were at 30% or so beginning of 2021, and now we're at 60. So I don't think it's going to be too long until we get to like maybe 70, 80. And
Yeah,
once you're there, I mean, it's pretty impressive. And I'm
yeah. I
sure the
think
only Decred not mix is like the dormant Decred lost during the airdrop, or whatever.
yeah. I know. I agree on that one. Um, we are roughly about the hour point, I think, or 37 minutes. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about? Did you want to go over the proposal before we call it a night?
No,
Our video.
I'll wait to. I got to finish the proposal, but it's gonna be
Oh, I've lost you. Just give Exodus a couple of seconds.
in the
The dreaded internet is gone. You've just
proposal.
broken out. You've broken out.
I might.
Yeah, you've broken up on us for a second. Hopefully it'll come back in a second.
Am I coming?
Almost.
You're okay.
Wait there, just 2 secs. Let it catch up. This is sometimes what happens. It just kind of breaks up. But I think, are you hearing me okay? I think we've lost Exodus. Here he
Can you
is.
hear
He's
me?
back. Yeah. Well, I tell you what,
Yeah.
that's not
Sorry,
too
my
bad.
internet right now is not the most stable, so can't do dex trades on this internet.
Well, you've been up for almost 40 minutes. So I think, we had a good run of secure internet or reliable internet for that time. But what was you saying? Sorry.
But I'll I'll say I can't do dex trades on this internet. Don't want to lose my coins,
Yeah.
unfortunately. But I was going to say proposal. I'm finishing it up, but it's going to be more or less the same as the last one, except uh, just maybe a call for new blood, new contributors. As I said earlier in this live stream, just always looking for new people to help contribute. We have a DAO, we have the treasury, we have the funds. And I guess maybe one more thing I want to say is just like it's so funny when you have people come out and be like, "Why Decred? What does Decred do? Why should we care about Decred?" It's like, well, if you care about governance, if you care about privacy, if you care about Lightning Network, Dex, proposal platform, fair way of doing things. It's like Decred has it all. That I call Decred the jack of all trades coin. It's like whatever you're looking for in a coin, unless you want like NFTs. If you're into NFTs, maybe Decred isn't for you. But Decred, jack of all trades coin. I also forgot to mention as DAO, big thing, DAO treasury.
Yeah.
It's doing a lot of things, and it can course correct.
Yeah, it's probably one of the most important things about the whole project at this particular moment, apart from the decks, of course, but the fact that there is a DAO and, you know, there is enough sustainable funding there to pretty much build out anything we need for the project.
It's like, you know, Bitcoin maximalist. Oh, we don't need Decred. We have Bitcoin. Well, it's like, well, I guess you don't care about like adapting, governance, privacy, you know, all these things. It's really mind blowing, but it's like, okay, they're just like, oh, look at the price. Decred performed pretty well against Bitcoin in the last bull run, you know.
Yeah. 0.003, I think it was.
While dealing with the malicious suppressor proof of work miners just dumping, you know. So,
I'll tell you, in about a year's time, or less than a year's time, hopefully, when we look back at this, I want to see what the outcome is, and it'll be really interesting to kind of have that debate in about 10 months' time. Once this proposal's gone through and the new software's gone through and the rewards have changed to the 80% in stakers' favor, just to see, you know, it would be really, really interesting, I think, and to be kind of able to adapt to a problem that was perceived and then to turn it around. You know, I think the suppressor articles came out about 4 months ago, if that, maybe 5 months ago, and to kind of go, right, within 6 months, we've seen this as a problem, and now we need to kind of respond to it. I think it's amazing.
I believe there was knowledge about this for a long time. This was absolutely not like a recent thing. Like I have heard talks of things going on the Binance market for some time, and I know it was a hard decision by Company Zero to do this, because it's such a huge change to change the core block rewards, and it sounded like such a great system, you know, 60 30 10, so fair, well thought out. But I do agree with them that proof of work isn't as great as we all think it is. It's certainly not as fair, you know.
No, I mean, it's one of my first videos was looking at the mining and the way that it could be centralized, and the way that there were problems down the line once the supply runs out, once the supply gets to, like, you know, the last million or whatever. You know, you've got two options. I felt at the time, especially in the Bitcoin field, where you either heighten the supply or you charge more for your fees, especially if the system's being used. So, no, I agree with that. And currently, any of the blockchains that are using, what's the algorithm for Bitcoin called? 256. I've forgotten what it's called.
I think it's SHA-256. I could be wrong.
SHA-256, yeah. So any of the ones that are using them, they're probably more open to this kind of manipulation than we are, based on the fact that we are running a slightly different algorithm. But we'll see.
But yeah, it's definitely nice to know that the developers and the community are willing to kind of make these risks and really do what needs to be done. You know, not, you know, play hardball, not softball, basically.
Yeah. No, I was listening to Jake's interview with Eduardo on Decred in Depth. If you haven't listened to that, everyone, that's a fantastic episode. But he was just basically saying, you know, sometimes you just have to step up. I respect the team for that, actually, a lot.
Yeah, I wouldn't say like it's necessarily, in my opinion, like a project killer what the suppressor is doing, but I do think it is very detrimental to the project. But yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, we had that lovely bull run that, you know, and then all of a sudden it came back down. So anyone that was buying on those top, you know, over £100, all of a sudden started going, oh, this is rubbish. I've lost all my money or whatever. And you kind of feel for that. It was always going to happen. Someone was going to buy the top, but you do kind of feel that if that was deliberately suppressed downwards, that's a bit harsh for those people.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exodus, it's been an absolute pleasure, and I'm glad we got this first one done just to see how it goes. And if anyone's watching this live, and I've lost the comments, which is a real shame. So if you guys have been commenting, I really apologise. Oh, wait there. Oh, there they are. I found them. We've got comments.
Oh,
what did they say? People in crypto want crazy gains. Decred is in it for the tech. Absolutely. If the coin's treasury doesn't fully hold its own coin, then how much faith they have? I think that might be. I don't know. I don't understand that. We need liquidity. That's a common one, isn't it?
Yes.
Oh, and Eddie's just said, I just want to know when Decred going to be listed on Coinbase. Hopefully never.
Soon.
If I'm honest, that's why we've got
know.
the DEX. The DEX is going to fill all of those gaps, especially if we can get the pairs.
They're just listing so much trash at this point. I don't know if a listing will even help. Listing might have been nice in 2017, 2018. Now it's just like, okay. Yeah, we have a DEX. DEX is awesome. Hopefully more people, I'd rather more people come to the DEX and use our DEX than go on Coinbase.
Yeah. So you get this situation where the Coinbase and all the other centralized exchanges, they're just on and off ramps, which is, everything else can come straight through the DEX. Get your Bitcoin, go straight through the DEX to Decred, or hopefully USDC. Exodus.
It's been great talking some Decred. Yeah, we'll see how the community likes it. If they want to see more.
Yeah, if they want to see more, then I think I'm definitely up for this. I think it's brilliant. Maybe need to sort out my bits and pieces, but I think for the most part it's been okay. It's worked okay. Anything you want to sign off with?
No, just been nice to talk Decred. Looking forward to what's coming to the project this year. Obviously, if you guys want a roadmap, we always say look to Politeia. That's our roadmap. So, but yeah, I know I believe there's going to be a new proposal for Politeia work. Sometime this week.
I saw that.
They said on Matrix they're gearing up for the next proposal, and I think Politeia is one of those things that has a crazy amount of potential. But we just have to see what they come out with. But yeah, nice talking with you.
Yeah, no, it's been absolutely brilliant. And guys, if you've got any feedback, it'd be great to hear it. If there's anything that you feel that could be improved on, obviously that's what we're always trying to do, trying to improve, trying to make it good. Still quite new at all this stuff. Talking live's a bit daunting, I've got to be honest. But it's been absolutely fun. Enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys next time.